Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah. Well, hello, dummies, and welcome to episode number 92 of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name, as you all know, is Tim Man of Steel Van Stratton. That's Steel E-A-L, in case you were wondering. Alongside me is Rodney Newpol in his office. We're fresh off NFL Week 1. We have made it out alive. What a week. What a weekend, man. How are you?
Yeah, man, lots of football went on this weekend. Lots of games were played, some good ones, some bad ones, some ugly ones. And so now everybody thinks they know who's good and who's bad in the NFL. And week 2, I think, is the most dangerous week to bet and play fantasy lineups because fool's gold. It'll be interesting. I'm really looking forward to week 2 to see, start seeing a little bit more, get a little more data and figure out who's actually good and who's not. The Dolphins are not good, but
spoiler alert,
but I wouldn't be surprised if they win in week 2. Anyways, we'll get to that on Friday.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks to everyone who's tuning in right now for episode number 92 of the show. As you may have expected, we got a lot of football talk. We have a official unveiling. Rodney today in the middle of the day decided, you know what? I'm just going to rank all 32 NFL teams. So you're going to hear Rodney's power rankings here in a bit. We're also going to play Chill or Nah, which is more or less a game about overreactions. Are the Dolphins the worst team in the NFL? Is Aaron Rodgers again? These are some of the topics and more that we will discuss here in a bit. But first, I want to say a couple things here. So how about that football, obviously, but also, and I didn't put this in the graphic, shout out to East Peoria Buffalo Wild Wings.
Yeah.
Because when my ass walked in there at 11:25 on an NFL Sunday, every single television in the restaurant had Kurt Menefee or CBS show.
Yeah.
It
They were all.
It was Fox or CBS, NFL, every single TV, and I smiled wide and I said they listened. They heard our demands and they listened.
Yeah, no, they did. They did a great job, and honestly, by 12, it was every game. Right? They had already figured out which ones are going to be where, and yes, 100% shout out. It only took a couple years for them to actually figure it out, but. Good work by the staff there at Buffalo Wild Wings, East Peoria. I'll be back some point this year. Our third wheel Skeeter will be back week 2. So I'm kind of secretly hoping they bomb it for him and he goes all nuclear on them. But anyways, shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings, East Peoria.
Yeah, because that was going to be a problem. There were threats made last week. There were threats made, and I didn't want things to get messy, but they listened. But that's besides the point. All right, there's so many different places to start. I know it's kind of hard. Like it's been sort of reacted to death in terms of the week 1 slate. Obviously the big standouts. The Sunday night game was amazing, incredible. Ravens Bills, it lived up to the hype and then some. The Monday night game was hilarious. It was memorable to say the least. Sunday, the Sunday slate as a whole for you, man. Like we were watching the noon games, the Bucks Falcons game. We correctly said, that's going to be the game that I think we're most excited about in that noon slate, and it had some weirdness as the NFC South matchups like to do, but it came down to it at the very end. The Steelers Jets game was really fun. That was probably the best game.
Yep.
On Sunday before Ravens Bills, I would assume.
The Steelers Jets went over and almost over by halftime with the total. It was the lowest point total of the day and just sailed over it. Aaron Rodgers, Justin Fields, both quarterbacks look good. Both of them look good. But yeah, though that was the best game of the first 2 sessions. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I'm thinking that 3:00 window. Your Rams Texans, a lot lower scoring than I think people expected. Um, I I can't get a feel on if the Texans are going to be okay. Like little concerning, little
Yeah.
concerning.
Yeah,
Um,
and it opens
yeah,
the door for Indianapolis and Jacksonville. We can talk about either one of those teams or both of them as we go, but like Indianapolis looked good, right? I mean, they smacked around their opponent. Jacksonville looked good now, albeit with Carolina. So yeah, I mean, if Houston's going to falter, one of those two teams is likely going to take advantage of that. I don't think it'll be Tennessee, although you got to give Tennessee a little bit of credit. They battled Bo Nix and the Broncos.
they
Um,
yeah they and the Broncos gave Tennessee some opportunities
yeah,
to
yeah,
steal that game away. Calvin Ridley had just several mind-numbing
yeah,
drops in that one. Um, the Packers Lions game was. I'm not surprised the Packers won. I'm surprised that it was as thorough of a beatdown as it was. It really felt like right away, like, oh, the Packers are handling this
yeah.
game, and they looked really, really good. They looked good.
Yeah, kicked their ass from start to finish, and
Yeah.
I can't really necessarily pat myself on the back too much, but I'm not surprised by this. I mean, I think people underestimate the loss of two major coordinators. Now, are the Lions going to get it figured out? They might. They probably will be. They will be better than they are in Week 1, but like that's a major concern. And Jared Goff away from Ben Johnson is a major concern, right? Like obviously Ben Johnson put him in the right position to succeed. This new coordinator, one game, you can't necessarily say he hasn't, but didn't in Week 1. So I think that's definitely a concern and something to watch. And now Lions Bears, you're looking at the loser of that game really being behind the 8 ball in the NFC North, and it's hard to be 2 games. I mean, you put yourself 2 games back after 2 games. You're asking for a lot of trouble in a really good division.
That was a division that had two teams that won 14 or more games
Yeah.
last year. You need to win a lot of games in that division to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to put yourself in a good position. So it
And
mattered. And yeah, go ahead.
And I think that's probably what kills. There's a lot of things that kill the Bears from last night, and we'll talk a little bit more Bears in the next segment. But like knowing that was even a division game, like you win that game last night, and now you're talking. You could really put a kill shot on the Detroit Lions in Week 2. Like you could go 2 games up on the defending NFC North champion Detroit Lions. Now you're like, oh shoot. We're going to Detroit, and they are also ticked off. And now we're staring down 0-2 going to Dallas in Week 3. So, yeah, that was a killer. That was a killer.
Yeah, just kind of bouncing around, looking at the other Sunday games. I want to kind of cover everything before we get to Sunday night and Monday night here, just to make sure we've covered all our bases. Obviously, the Colts Dolphins game was interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
I along with our mutual friend Skeeter decided, hey, you know what would be a really good idea? First DFS lineup of the season. Let's stack the Miami Dolphins here. Let's put our faith and our hard-earned dollars on Tua and Tyreek Hill. I did Jalen Waddle as well. And it did not work.
No, it
did
didn't.
not work. They were terrible. They were terrible. And spoiler alert, the segment that we're going to do a little bit later, the chill or nah, is there's both Dolphins and Colts related questions in there. So, but I just wanted to throw this Dolphins Colts game out there and say, yeah, WTF, man. Like that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, I think the days of like counting on Tyreek Hill to be your cog in your fantasy team, your DFS team are over, right? Like he really hasn't done much in basically a calendar year. What was the stat I gave you? Like he hasn't gone over.
It hasn't had a 30+ yard catch in a year.
Yeah. And if he can't get big chunks at once, like his numbers are certainly going to be different. And and the good part is his daily fantasy price will go down. So there's going to become a time where he might help you win a big contest because you're going to get him at a good price. Everybody's going to be down on the Dolphins. He's going to break free with some of that speed, and it's gonna happen. Now, I don't think it's week 2 because I still think his price will probably be a little too high for what he's accomplishing. But eventually, or he's going to get traded and be number 3 or number 4 on a team, and then you're talking about a whole new dynamic.
Mm-hmm. A couple other games real quick. The 49ers were able to squeak out that victory at Seattle, but it cost them George Kittle. It might cost them Brock Purdy. It took 1 week for the 49ers to have all those injury issues that really killed them last year come back up again. The good news is McCaffrey at least looked really good, but he's consistently going to be, I think, just on the injury report at all times. And a shout out, by the way, to the 1-0 Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. When's the last time you got to say the 1-0 Cincinnati Bengals? And of course, it's a game in which they get 7 yards in the second half of total offense, 7 total yards of offense in the second half, but managed to win by a point at the Cleveland Browns. That's the exact opposite of where they were last year, where they would have amazing performances and lose, but now they don't play well and they win. So shout out to the Bengals.
That is a massive sigh of relief in Cincinnati, right? Like,
oh yes,
just winning that game and being 1-0, no matter how ugly it was, no matter if you have questions about Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase combination or not, you're 1-0. Like you're 1-0, and in the National Football League, and as a Bengals, if you're a Bengals fan, Bengals coach, like this is the year you got to make the playoffs. Like you got to get to 10. You got to get to 10. And this was one. So, like, you're looking at your 10th of a way to your goal. You got to get 10 wins. And they got one. Now, the film's going to be ugly on it. It's going to be ugly. And really, they're going to find out that Cleveland basically lost the game over Cincinnati winning the game. But it all counts. And that's the crazy part about the NFL. You get 17 of them, right? And so, at the end, it's either a W or an L. And that's what matters the most. I mean, that is more than any sport. That matters so much. The W or the L. Like, we joke about the process, but like the process in the NFL is you win or you lose. Really all it comes down to. Like Cleveland can't be like, well, we played pretty well. They gotta be shooting themselves for thinking, oh my gosh, we could have got our one and we didn't. I mean, that's a killer. Yeah. That's just like the Bears loss. That Cleveland loss was a killer.
Yeah. And obviously the Bengals had exceptional luck with, Cleveland's kicking misfortunes in that game. But they also are looking and saying, wow, Pittsburgh won with a 60-yard field goal there. Yeah. And like they were that close to being the only team in the AFC North with a win this weekend. They could have had a full game lead over every other team in the division if it wasn't for Pittsburgh pulling off that win at MetLife. But yeah, wild weekend. They now host the Bengals now host the Jaguars, and that Jaguars Panthers game. I have no memory of the second half because it was on during the other 4 games of my quad box, and it's like, sorry, I gotta move Panthers Jaguars out of there. But the Jaguars, by all intents and purposes, looked pretty solid in their debut.
It was a nice win for Liam Cohen.
Duval.
And he's 1-0, man. He's 1-0, just on the opposite side of what I said about Cleveland. Like you got your win, and in that AFC South, I said 10 for the Bengals. Like the AFC South, gosh, if you win 8, you might get in, right? So good win for them. Travis Hunter on the field. They traded Tanks Bigsby, so they're obviously excited about what they saw out of their Etanen and the other guy. So. Yeah, there you go. And that was a weird trade after week 1 to trade Tank.
Yeah. Why do the Eagles need Tank Bigsby?
yeah. For a 5th and 6th round pick. Yeah. I mean, so here's the thinking for me. Like
Saquon Soar? Is he
well, they got to understand that they really probably ought to scale Saquon back, right? Like so they think
but like, do they? Because they don't use him at all for any short yard. Like they're not throwing him into a bunch of bodies when they need to gain 1 yard because they just do it to Jalen Hurts. Like Saquon doesn't have to worry about any of that stuff. He only works in open field. Like that. Like I don't
Yeah.
understand that logic.
Yeah, no, I mean, Will Shipley, I think, was banged up a little bit, so maybe they're concerned about Shipley's status going forward. I do think so. The Eagles, while the Commanders are going to compete with them, the Cowboys and Giants probably are not. So I'm just curious if they're going to try to, they're going to get off to a good start and then try to scale Barkley back and use Bigsby. They think Bigsby is going to be a guy that can get competitive carries. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but that trade after week 1 was really quite odd.
Yeah. Just like an hour before the Monday Night Football game, I was like, oh, okay. I guess like the NFL news just never stops, and it always hits you at just such a random time.
Yeah.
And then it just dominates. But all right. Anyway, all right, let's get to Sunday night, Monday night. Does your dog want to chime in?
Yeah, do you hear that? Yeah, the dog must have saw something outside.
Okay, Rodney. I didn't think I'm very curious to hear your thoughts here. I did not think it was possible for the Ravens-Bills game to be outdone in terms of like, oh, holy crap, like they just lost. And then Monday night happened. And I will say this about the Bears meltdown. First of all, if there are 2 teams in the NFL who should be associated with having sizable leads and then losing at the end, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, it's honestly the Ravens and the Bears. Like it is like I'm sure you've seen the stat with the Ravens where they've had 9 games in the last several years where they had a win probability of 90% or more, and they've lost all of them.
All of them.
And like the Bears, like we were saying yesterday, we've seen the Bears do this so often. So it's like these are the 2 teams that this type of shit happens to all the time. But like what I was thinking about is, okay, the Ravens were on the road. They're going against Josh Allen, the league MVP. Like they were facing a team that you and I both picked to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The Bears were at home and totally shutting down a team that had a quarterback who was starting his first game of his NFL career. JJ McCarthy, like, yeah, he was, he learned the system last year, but he didn't play. He's basically a rookie. So like that in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, I think the Ravens comeback, or the Ravens meltdown, I should say, was maybe a little bit more unexpected. But the Bears one, to me, just like how it happened. And then it was a point where it's like, you were totally suffocating this team. You've made this quarterback look like a high schooler. And now the Vikings are suddenly up 10 on you.
Yeah.
And like you had -1 yards in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Like it was unbelievable how that game turned. So like what was worse for you? Like what was the worst meltdown in your eyes? And then the kick at the end where it's like you kick out of bounds, but no, let's kick it to the end zone and make sure that we get the ball with 9 seconds left rather than 50 seconds. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's got to be a 45-degree kick straight out of bounds, and
Yes.
screw the field position. Like you have to have that time. Like that was atrocious. What was worse was honestly, it was still probably the Ravens because I don't know.
Maybe so. I'll say it with the Ravens, like Derrick Henry fumbling at that moment. That was bad.
Yeah,
that was bad.
That was bad.
That was it was, and not just bad, but like there were many fantasy matchups across our great nation that were determined by that Derrick Henry fumble.
Yeah, or DJ Moore, his fumble trying to lateral.
Oh, at the very end of the game. Yeah.
Yeah. That's minus 2
But
points.
okay. Yeah. But like Derrick Henry, yeah. Like, he doesn't fumble like that.
No,
That's not
he
something
doesn't.
that Derrick Henry does. And he was averaging 10 yards a carry. He was absolutely having his way against the Bills. And then it's just it turned just like
Yeah.
that.
And the Bills can get such chunk plays. They just literally can get 25, 30 yards at a time and get somebody open downfield. Josh Allen looked like he knew exactly what he was doing at all times. I will give JJ McCarthy his flowers there in that fourth quarter. But he only played one good quarter. And so that's obviously a little bit of concern, but again, in the National Football League, it's a W or it's an L, and he picked up the W. Yeah. Caleb Williams, one good quarter. It was the first one. I can't really call the fourth quarter a good one. It was not. He did score late in the game, he just anytime something's not on schedule with Caleb Williams, it does not go well. They can't get behind the sticks. They cannot get penalties, or they're in big trouble.
Yeah. So was a dozen penalties for the Bears.
Yeah.
Four false starts at home. That's wild. Yeah. I feel like I've been talking about Caleb Williams nonstop for about 24 hours now. Like I really believe that we as a whole, like, I think that this is a great example of groupthink, because I think somewhere along the lines, we were all just told that Caleb Williams is generational. His mechanics are flawless. He's accurate. He's poised. Like, all of this stuff that that would make him a can't miss prospect. Like, he was billed, and correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't think I am. He was billed as this guy is absolute can't miss. And it's funny because we've seen him now for just over a full season in the NFL. He's at 18 games, and it's a very similar to what he was doing at USC in terms of how he can escape the pocket, how he can improvise, how he can make these big throws on the run. Like, all of that stuff is great. But when it comes to normal, stand in the pocket, deliver an accurate throw, he ain't doing that. He ain't doing that. And he had multiple throws yesterday that were not close to where they needed to be. And this has been a consistent issue with him now over the course of his career in the pros. And I think that if he was really the generational prospect, I know we kind of use that word liberally and like to make fun of it, but if he was that true generational prospect, we wouldn't be sitting here 18 games in his year and being like, man, this guy really struggles with accuracy. That's not a thing. That's not a thing if you're a truly transcendent quarterback. You need to be accurate. He's not.
Yeah. And to me, one of the biggest concerns, if I'm a Chicago fan, is the visible disgust that Ben Johnson was showing over Caleb during that game. You could see him shaking his head. I think one time he even kind of, he was swearing under his breath. And that, to me, whether it was or not, is more of a directed towards the play of Caleb. And okay, so we don't know this for a fact, but my guess is Caleb is not the most mentally tough quarterback. And if he knows his head coach is wavering, I think there's big time questions there. But on the other side, let's talk Ben Johnson real quick. Wonder Boy.
Yeah. He got badly outcoached.
Yeah.
Badly outcoached.
And here's the crazy part. I did this with Chapel Bill. I did this when I bet Chapel Bill. I was so bogged down on his return. I was so bogged down on the Ben Johnson, the Caleb Williams, the Bears at home. We do 1 year ago, I came on this show and I'm like, coaching, Kevin O'Connell, stud coach. Nobody's coached like the Minnesota Vikings. And you didn't necessarily disagree, but you didn't like the Vikings as much. And I'm telling you right now, Vikings will win a bunch of games because of Kevin O'Connell. And here I am betting the Chicago Bears week 1 against Kevin O'Connell. Stupid, my fault, really dumb. But guys, Kevin O'Connell, guy can coach. And he smoked Ben Johnson last night. Ben Johnson, Some of the play calls late, atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge on TJ Hawkinson's catch,
Yeah,
atrocious.
yeah.
Probably
Apparently,
like to have that timeout back.
Yeah, and apparently he was, I guess, he went against some of the suggestions of other people in his staff, and so I think he sort of overruled them and decided to challenge when he was being told by some other people, "Hey, maybe we don't challenge that." And so that's a hard lesson for him. And you're right, that timeout that they didn't have late in the game absolutely killed him. 100%.
That killed him, and then okay, so he can blame Cairo Santos if he wants. But the fact of the matter is, this is on you because you need to go up to Cairo Santos and say, kick this ball out of bounds. You have to kick this ball out of bounds. Because, you have to question if this guy can get out of the end zone. Like, you should know if this guy can get out of the end zone. It better be 100% chance he's going to kick that out of the end zone. If not, it's got to go straight out of bounds. Everybody on that roster can kick the ball straight out of bounds. Everybody on the Bears roster.
Yeah.
Kick that ball out of bounds. Cairo Santos is the only one that maybe can kick it out of bounds, out of the end zone. You have to kick that straight out of bounds. And he didn't. Like that to me is coaching. Like, you have to know. I mean, it'd be like trying to tell your quarterback we're going to try a 70-yard Hail Mary when he can only throw it 60 yards. Like, it just doesn't work. That's coaching. You got to be better than that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 100% right. Everyone knew that was the decision to make. It didn't happen. It's the classic example of a guy who has only had to worry about one facet of the team, the offense, has never had to concern himself with special teams, with defense, with game management, all those things that a head coach normally does. This was that lesson. That you're in charge of this stuff now. And I'll say this though for Boy Wonder. So a lot of people have gone back and they've studied the tape and looked at everything, and actually the way that they were calling plays, it was working. Guys were open, and I'm just gonna bring it back to Caleb again. Caleb just wasn't finding them. So it's not like, after the first 15 plays or so, it's Ben Johnson's offense just totally stumbled. There were still many opportunities that they had to extend drives and to make plays happen, and the execution was just not there. The execution was bad. So the offense that he's building, that he's bringing over, Detroit's offense was unstoppable last year. He's brought a lot of that to Chicago, but the personnel, and it's what we've been saying for months, the personnel is totally different. It's totally different, and it's going to take some time for that to get adjusted to one another.
Yeah, can I bring up one more thing on that game? I absolutely thought DJ Moore's season might be over last night.
I thought he died, and then he was just back on the field the next play.
Back on the field, at least. Yeah. Here's the only saving grace to this.
Yeah,
he did not get carted off.
He did not. You know what? They probably asked if he did, and he's like, "Am I dead?" They're like, "No." He's like, "No." Then leave it in the locker room. The card should only come out if a guy's season is over. His career is threatened. That's it. That's it with the card. You're so right.
Absolutely baffled he was back in that game. Absolutely I mean, so he had to have gotten tested for concussion, right?
I don't know. Would it have been that quick though? Because he was back one play later. It wouldn't have been that quick.
He was down on the ground a long time to be back one play later. The
whole stadium was silenced. There was traders around. It was several minute delay, and then he's just back in the game.
They went to Oh man, NFL man, what a game, But no, NFL man, the best drug there is on this planet, and it was Sunday, Monday night, fantastic. I hope Thursday night is a good one. What do we have? We have
it's Commanders Packers.
Yeah, it should be. Should be.
Yeah, two teams that looked really good on Sunday. Commanders were an NFC runner up last year.
Yeah,
and I think the Packers have just sort of said, "Hey, America, we're coming right now." They look really good. So, all right. So speaking of that, that's a good transition here. So you today decided to unveil your power rankings 1 through 32. Now, I don't know how you want to go about this here. You don't necessarily need to read them off in order. Maybe you just give a few, maybe just give some highlights here. So I'll let you sort of take the lead here, however you want to unveil your official week 1 power rankings.
All right, bottom 5 first. I'm going to start at the very bottom, and I cannot get over the fact that the Miami Dolphins just look absolutely horrid. They are going to be the bottom of my power rankings. Now, keep in mind, I really tried to base this off week 1 performance. And then as it went, then kind of okay, but this is what they, the second factor would be okay, this is what they have. But the week 1 performance, Miami Dolphins 32, New Orleans Saints 31. I didn't get a chance to see a lot of that game against Arizona, but it didn't look like they were all that competitive. It was a 1-score game, but not sure they really threatened. Yeah. I'm sorry, but your New York Giants come in at number 30.
Deserved. Three straight week 1s where they have not scored a touchdown. It's actually incredible.
Yeah, that's not even. Yeah, that is incredible. Just below the New England Patriots. Sorry, I'm not buying into New England Patriots. Keep in mind, when I did our official predictions, I only had 5 wins for Miami, 5 wins for the Jets, and 6 wins for the Patriots. And I'm going to be right. Those teams suck. They all 3 suck. 28, I'll go Carolina.
Jets
suck. Justin Fields was good, but here's the deal with the Jets. They'll find ways to lose. They'll find ways to lose.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Panthers came in at 28, so the bottom 5: Panthers, Patriots, Giants, Saints, Dolphins. Top 5, number 5. I know they lost, but I'm going to go Baltimore Ravens. That was really just one of because if I'm going to
Rodney, if the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game don't happen, are the Ravens number 1 on this list?
1, yeah. Because they looked absolutely incredible, and I'm not sure they should even be 5, but that's where I settled them at. Packers number 4. Colin Cowherd today had the Packers number 1. Fine, I can. There can be an argument to that. Like to see them do it against a non-divisional team. Like to see them do it a little bit more here. So we'll see. But they're number 4. Chargers came in at number 3. I thought LA looked good. They were poised. They made good decisions. Justin Herbert looked great. Bills come in at 2, and you're right. Ravens would have been 1, and Bills probably still would have fallen to 5 or 6, even if they lost that game. Just that's 2 of the top teams. We know that. And then number 1, I've got the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, did they look the best against the Cowboys? Probably not. But I am a big believer in you are the champion until you are knocked off. So they stay at the top spot. Somebody's going to have to take over that spot.
We get a Super Bowl rematch. We get a Super Bowl rematch on Sunday in Kansas City. I'm curious where you have the Chiefs.
Yeah. So we can go through and you can ask about various teams. Kansas City comes in at number 9. Now, after I put this together, I probably should have them at 8 because I have the Colts ahead of them, and Colts aren't ahead. Yeah, right. I probably botched that one, but I got too excited about what we saw out of Indianapolis in week 1. Daniel Jones looked good. After I did it, I was like, do I really think the Colts are better than the Chiefs? No, probably not. More of a overreaction. One team won, one team lost. I got Colts 8, Chiefs 9.
Yeah, but also now the Xavier Worthy injury factors in. So the Chiefs are down both of their top receivers. Kelsey, it's seemingly lost this. I mean, he's old. He's 34, 35 at this point. I feel like they got called for a lot of penalties on Friday too. Surprisingly undisciplined in a lot of different areas. And Chargers were just so much better than them. All right. I'm trying to think if there's any other. Where do you have the Detroit Lions?
Yeah. So I find it interesting because 17 and 18 are the 49ers and Lions.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
That's low.
That's pretty low, right? Those are 2 teams we expect to be pretty good, but neither one looked all that good, right? Detroit didn't look good at all. San Francisco really didn't look all that good. They're at 17. They won. They won. Yeah.
At Seattle. Like they won at Seattle.
Yeah, and I've got Seattle.
Yeah,
I've got Seattle at number 20. So it was pretty close. 17 beating 20. Yeah. I got some grief on Twitter from the Denver Broncos contingent today.
They found you?
Yeah, they didn't like Denver at 16. I don't know. So probably looking back on it, Jaguars, Raiders, Broncos was probably wrong. Probably should be Broncos, Raiders, Jaguars. But Jaguars look good. So I didn't think Denver looked very good. So right now I have Jacksonville 14, Raiders 15, Denver 16. And what I told the followers is good thing is he's changed every week, right? So Denver's got a chance to move up. That 16 for the Denver Broncos. I'm not sure I love that one, but that's where they're at right now.
All right. So that sounds good. You could see the full power rankings at his official Twitter at Newpel Rodney. But let's move on here. We're talking a lot about these overreactions. That's the fun thing about week 1, man. Like it's a small sample size, so you could really just say, all right, is this for real? Is this not? Like we saw it last year, a team like the New Orleans Saints, first 2 weeks of the season. We're like, my God, this offense is unstoppable. But then they ended up being terrible. Are the Colts going to be that? I don't know. But so I came up with this little game. It's very similar to the games we normally like to play around here. Very, very, a lot of thought that goes into these. Chill or nah. So the best way to explain this here, because it might be a little confusing. So chill is kind of like a, hey, pump the brakes. It's not an overreaction. Like just relax, right? It's like the Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. Just like let's chill out here. Nah means like, nah, this ain't an overreaction. This is legit. This is real. Does that make sense? So chill is like, it's overreaction. Nah, it's not an overreaction. All right. That all makes sense. It's very, very, very complex stuff here on the stupidest sports show on earth. Okay. Chill or nah. The Chargers, after 1 week, beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Brazil, their division rival, have asserted themselves as the class of the AFC West. Chill or nah?
I think you got to chill a little bit on that one. Yes, I just got done saying they're the champions until they're not. So Kansas City's still the AFC champions until they're not. One win in Brazil that was fairly competitive doesn't quite do it for me. Keep in mind, I have said several times, I think this could be a season we see Kansas City just everything go the wrong way for them. Not quite ready to crown the Chargers. And I still, even though I just mentioned Denver at 16, am not quite ready to crown the Chargers over even a Denver team that I think can be competitive in that. And the Raiders won. My Raiders. We declared on Sunday that I am a Raiders fan. Apparently.
Yes. Oh, we should have made a big announcement about that. So are you leaning into that? Is that going to be official now?
Yeah, sure. I like Pete Carroll. I was a Raider in high school. I like black and silver. So yeah, love Vegas. Yeah, no, I'll be a Raiders fan. I'm in. You may on mute there. Can't hear you.
Can you hear? I got too excited about you being a Raiders fan. I unplugged my mic.
There you go. Yeah. But no, sure.
Yeah. All right. So you're saying pump the brakes a little bit. Let's chill on the Chargers being the top of the AFC West.
I think so.
All right. I think I have a feeling where you're going to go with this one. You just put them number 32 in your rankings after getting embarrassed by Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts in week 1. The Miami Dolphins are the new worst team in the NFL. Chill or not?
Nah, they're the worst team in the NFL. Nah, they're
bad.
Bad. Yeah, bad. And I'm not sure they necessarily are going to care that they're the worst team in the NFL. I could see players trying to not necessarily give their all for old Mike McDaniel and get him out and force trades. He's just yeah. I mean, you've said it best a couple times. Like his whole behavior, his whole act just ain't as cute when they are no good.
Yeah, it's the whole shtick doesn't sit well when the team sucks.
Yeah.
And he's never been the type of coach that's like, hey, I'm going to motivate these guys. Like the players don't look at Mike McDaniel and say like, oh, we need to really work hard and win it for this guy. Like, and that's not saying like, oh, they don't like him. Like, I'm sure they like him. It's fine, but he's not that type of coach. He's not the type that'll just like, hey, he's going to rally the troops and they're going to come out of this. And like, it's that plus a quarterback that you have to hold your breath every time someone comes near him.
Yeah.
Plus a wide receiver that is like, I don't think he's cooked, but I think the days of him being a wide receiver one are done. And just, I think him being in Miami, I think at this point he's quit on them. And I think that they know it. And the team has quit on him too. And it's just, it should have ended sometime this offseason. So it's like, those are your three core pieces as a franchise. Like, you're going to be in bad shape. And yeah, I think you had them at 5 wins. I think I had them at 6 or something going into the season. But yeah, like they're going to be last place in the AFC East. I feel good about saying that.
I mean, they could 3-way tie because I don't think the Patriots or Jets are any good either. I just don't. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah. So they may they're all going to lose the Bills and maybe split the others. There could be 3 wins playing or 2 wins playing those guys, but yeah,
what's the over under on the week the Bills win the AFC East?
Right, because they've kind of got a soft schedule coming up here.
It's going to be like week 11 and a half is where I put it.
Yeah, I mean, let's just run down Buffalo's schedule real quick. At the Jets, with the Dolphins, with the Saints, with the Patriots, and then at the ATL, which you have them losing at the ATL. But
that'll be a tough game.
Yeah. But then listen, at Carolina,
win
with Kansas City.
Yeah.
And then at Miami.
Which I think they win. So
yeah. I mean, it's hard to win in Highmark stadiums there. Obviously, just ask the Ravens.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 or number 3, I should say. So as bad as the Dolphins were, that's how good the Colts were. 7 drives, they put up points in all of them. Daniel Jones recorded 3 touchdowns. The team was great. I was not high on the Colts. You were a little bit higher on the Colts, but you weren't exactly saying that they were going to be great. That said, has your mind changed? Are we looking at this Colts team all wrong? Could they actually be a playoff team in the AFC? Chill or not?
No, we got chill on this one. I said no,
chill,
so
chill.
We got chill on this one. Yeah, so I'm not really getting off any of my preseason win-loss stuff, right? Like, there may have been some games I didn't pick, but like, if I've got the Colts at 7-10, they're probably still going to be a 7-10 team. Like, because again, I don't think week 1's quite the time that I can drastically change this. Now they go 2-0, they go, they're 4-1 after week 5, then maybe Colts are hosting Denver this week. Like, I probably think Denver plays better and wins that game.
I want to see this Colts offense against Denver's defense, which might be the best defense in the NFL. I would like to see that before I say, but like for the Colts real quick, it's one of 2 outcomes for me. They're either last year's Saints, where it's the hot start, but then they quickly just crash down to earth, or they're last year's Vikings, who had a journeyman quarterback, came in, no expectations, but a new system, just like new vibes, and suddenly things just clicked. Like I'm not saying Colts are going to have 14 games, but like that's how I'm viewing it. They're either going to be the Saints or the Vikings. I can't figure it out yet. And I think we'll know in a couple weeks.
Yeah. I mean, so Indianapolis has Denver, and then they go to Tennessee and to the Rams. Like, neither one of those road games are gimmies. Like, Tennessee's not good, but like divisional game in Nashville, like, So yeah, I mean, we could be talking 3 weeks from now, and the Colts could be 1-3. So
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna chill. We need to chill on this one.
All right, I'm good with that. All right, next, Aaron Rodgers had 4 touchdowns. A game that was a 37.5 over under was 34-32 because, of course, Aaron Rodgers looked great in a revenge game against his old team in New York. Aaron Rodgers is back. Chill or nah?
I think we got to chill on this one. I think we got to chill on a 41-year-old being back to his prime days. Pittsburgh will not score 4 passing touchdowns every game. They host Seattle this week. Seattle's probably going to play them a little bit better defensively. But Pittsburgh's got routes to win. The questions about Aaron Rodgers, and I'm going to go chill. Like, no, Aaron Rodgers is not back because, like, if he's back, like, he's MVP type back, right? Like, that's what I'm picturing back for Aaron Rodgers.
All right, I not necessarily that, but like, is Aaron Rodgers going to be an above-average starting quarterback for a Pittsburgh Steelers team where like Rodgers has been a non-factor in this league for 2 years before this?
I think you could not. I think you could go with that one.
Yeah.
I think and I'll give credit to Pittsburgh being that reason. Like, Pittsburgh coaches know what they're doing. Pittsburgh coaches know how to put them in the right spot to succeed. It's amazing when you get strong coaching, you can do things, right? Like, Jets, I just don't believe he was put in the right spot very often. Obviously he ruptured his tendon the first time, and obviously a big deal. But no, so yeah, I mean, I think he can be a serviceable too strong quarterback. Like, he's not elite back Aaron Rodgers, but 4 touchdowns is awfully impressive in week 1.
All right, and let's wrap up with one more topic for chill or nah. The Packers, after a dominant victory over the Detroit Lions, aren't just the new favorites in the NFC North, which I would imagine at this point they are. The Packers are now NFC favorites, and they're right there with the Philadelphia Eagles as a real legitimate Super Bowl contender. Chill or nah?
No, you got to chill on this one. Like, the Philadelphia Eagles still play in the NFC, right? Like,
they do.
And I've said it already on this show, and I'll say it again. Like, you got to beat the best to be the best. And until Philadelphia shows that they are not the favorites in the NFC, Philadelphia Eagles are. And then, you still haven't necessarily talked about the Los Angeles Rams, who found a way to win. Yes, albeit ugly, but they got it done. You mentioned Denver maybe being the best defense. I would maybe counter with the Los Angeles Rams being the best defense. So you've got them. You still do have, the Lions, the Vikings, and those. What do we see out of those teams? Yeah, I mean, so
I'll throw the Bucks in there. I'm not going to say that the Bucks are better than the Eagles or maybe even the Packers at that point, but like the Bucks, I think should end up being a pretty good team against anyone.
Yeah, no, and shout out Baker Mayfield. I mean, Baker's got the it. Like, he finds ways. He finds ways to get it done. And then, having a second legitimate target with Egbuka. Yeah. Good call on Emeka Egbuka, by the way, too. Thanks. Shout out to Skeeter, and then you, and then me. I jumped in on the fun. So, big day for him. His price in DFS is only going to skyrocket. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be unplayable here soon because he's going to be so high, right? Like, and he's not going to have 2 touchdowns every game. Like, we know this. Like, will it be week 2? I can't promise that, but eventually he's going to be too high priced.
No, yeah, and eventually Chris Godwin's going to come back as well too, and and you're going to have to figure out how that. But like, Tampa's got some. They got some weapons. They're a good team. All right, real quick. So we got just best bets for betting recap for you before we get into our end of the show, the Mount Rushmore of 92s, in honor of the 92nd episode of our show. A real quick rundown of what transpired over the weekend. Was not a good college slate for one, Rodney. So we started off Louisville as a 14.5-point favorite over James Madison. That did not hit.
Yeah, end up 14. And I'm kind of ticked at myself for this one because it actually the line started at 13.5. You would have won that one. You could have won that one. But by the time we did best bets for betting, it was at 14.5. I still liked it. Louisville got the win, and I lost by this half point. But yeah, no, not a good college weekend for me. You'll see here over these next couple picks. It was not a good college weekend.
The Chiefs Chargers, I told you that these games like to go under. At first we did see some signs that it was going to be a lower scoring game. But they ended up, I think, finishing it was 27-22, so 49 points. Shootout, not really, but the under did not hit in Brazil, so that's 0-1 for me as well.
Yeah, so number 2, the Duke Blue Devils did not get it done in Durham, and so, but this was a 14-13 game and a half, right? Like Duke had every opportunity, turned it over numerous times. Illinois scored 31 second half points. Credit to the Orange and Blue, got it done. That's a nice road win for them, and Illinois will be 3-0 going to Indiana. They have USC and Purdue between then before they go. Ohio State comes to town. October 11th. Ohio State, Illinois could both be 6-0. You're talking 2 top 5 teams at that point. So shout out to the Orange and Blue for their win. Did not cover.
Did not. All right. My first victory of the weekend. I went all 5 NFL for my bets.
Yeah.
Rodney did a college NFL split. I said, I had picked the Browns to win, but I was a chicken. I said, I'll just take the cover. I'm glad I did so, but the Browns easily covered +5 at home against the Bengals. So it was a much needed win for me. Yeah, number 3 for Rodney. Yeah,
number 3, not one on all 3 of these college games. Not ashamed of. Yes, I lost. That happens. Lost by a half point. Was down 1 at halftime. And I know I'm sounding like excuse making here, but Kansas Jayhawks had a 21-6 lead after 1 quarter. Looked really good. It was 21-21 at halftime. It was actually 28-24 after 3. Kansas trailed, so still covering at that point. Kind of slipped on them late. Missouri scored 14 in the 4th quarter, including the final 2 touchdowns. Missouri turned it over, and the final touchdown was with 1:49 to go. That's the situation. It was a 63-yard touchdown. Like, he gets 10 yards there, the clock runs, and the game is over, and I cover this. So it is what it is. Kudos to Missouri for winning the big rivalry game over the Jayhawks.
This next game doesn't need too much commentary. I need to stop doing this. I need to stop talking myself into the Giants starting off a season well, because it doesn't happen. And Russell Wilson was really bad, and the Giants were really bad. And if they lose on Sunday to Dallas and start 0-2 before then, they have to face the Chiefs and the Chargers back to back. Jackson Dart at this point, Jackson Dart's going to be starting no later than week 5 against the Saints, right? At this point,
that's exciting
for now. Yeah, I'd like to say yes. But I've been hurt too many times. All right. Speaking of the Chargers, Rodney got the win. He took the Chargers straight up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chargers were good, man. I was super impressed, and like, I'll say this real quick about the Chargers game plan. Like, Jim Harbaugh and that team, they have such a reputation of run, but they threw the ball like crazy. Yeah. And I don't think Kansas City was expecting them to really go through the air as much as they did. But like, Herbert was awesome. He's got to be the most. He has to be the most underrated quarterback, right? Like, because I think he's an elite quarterback, but we don't view him as such. I
thought he was really good too, and on a day that Omari and Hampton didn't do a ton, Ladd was good, but he wasn't necessarily the game breaker. Quentin Johnson 2 touchdowns, that's a good sign for them. Keenan Allen caught some passes, right? That's a good sign, and the defense was strong. So good win for the Chargers, and up 1 now in the AFC West.
Yeah. I tried to tell you guys about Keenan Allen on Friday. I tried to tell all you. Bears could have used him. Would have caught all those errant Caleb Williams passes. All right. I got to stop doing over-unders. I think I'm retiring them after 1 week. I thought the Raiders-Patriots, I think we'd see more points. Patriots just didn't look super functional. Raiders looked okay, but, Bowers got hurt for a little bit. Yeah. It's kind of a mediocre game in Foxborough, so lost there. But we ended strong, as you can see.
Yeah, both NFL wins for me. Packers -1.5. Good win. Never really in doubt. Packers took it from the beginning, and Lions never really stood a chance. It was. I really wish this would have been one that, because sometimes I can bait Skeeter to bet me on air. Some kind of, even if it's $1 Coke, right? We've done that before because he was super high on the Lions. He was even talking about laddering them. He could not understand why Green Bay was favored, and I'm like, dude. Here's a reason why. A, they're at home. B, the Lions lost all their coordinators. And C, like the Packers got a stud on defense, and they were already really good on defense. And these two teams were not that far apart last year. Yes, Detroit was really good and won the division, but Green Bay was right there. Green Bay was strong last year. So I was not surprised. Good win for the Packers, and it kept me at 2-3. I can manage a 2-3, right? I can survive a 2-3.
Yeah. Speaking of games that were never in doubt as well, the Buffalo Bills, we all knew that the Bills were going to win that game. At no point did people say, man, the Bills are might lose this one. We all knew it. But yeah, this saved me. I took them on the money line. They found a way. That Josh Allen, man, I'll come right out and say it. That Josh Allen guy, he can play.
He's pretty good.
Quarterback. Yeah, pretty good. I threw this out in the text thread. Any quarterback you could choose to run your team, any quarterback in the league, and you said Josh Allen, number one. Is he? So he's the QB1 of the NFL in your eyes, and I think in my eyes too.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think so. He does stuff that others can't. He runs it, throws it, physical. He's smart. Doesn't turn it over all that often. No, I'll go with Josh Allen,
and then probably Lamar too. At least for me, even with Sunday, I'm like, man, that guy's really good. He's a really good quarterback.
No, he is. He's good, and then having Derrick Henry as his running mate, and if Zay Flowers can continue to do what he did in Week 1, was really good, and they typically have a tight end or two that can get open and catch the ball. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, eventually coming back. So Lamar Jackson really good as well.
Yeah. So that brings our best bets for betting records. You're sitting at 5-5 after 2 weeks. I'm at 4-6. Disaster has been avoided, but we got to start racking up some wins. At least on my end too. I don't like being out to a losing record this soon. So, all right, let's end on a positive here. The Mount Rushmore of 92s, as you can expect, pretty football heavy list here. Really, I didn't find anyone in baseball worth mentioning. That's on. So this is a great one, Rodney. Are you ready for this?
I am.
The only player to wear number 92 for more than one season in Major League Baseball history was former St. Louis Cardinal Genesis Cabrera. He's worn it for all 6 years that he's been in the league, which, by the way, did you know Genesis Cabrera has played for 4 different teams this year alone?
Really? I did not know that.
Yes. The Cubs, the Twins, the Mets, and the Pirates in 2025. But Genesis Cabrera is the only Major League Baseball player who's ever worn it for more than a year. He's worn it 6 years in the bigs. He also has the lowest WAR of any player to ever wear number 92 in Major League Baseball history. So that's yeah, there you go. He's not on the Mount Rushmore, in case you're wondering. No one really in the NBA worth mentioning. Hockey, couple guys, but I want to start in the NFL here. Some obvious ones right off the bat. The number one player ever to wear number 92, Reggie White.
Yeah.
Full year, 1986 to 2000, Reggie White. And then the guy who always pops into my head for number 92, this one I think goes without saying as well, Michael Strahan. So those are 2 defensive ends that are legendary Hall of Famers, 92, they're locks. And then we got 2 more spots to fill.
Yeah, how are we going to do that?
So I'll tell you, there's 2 NFL guys that I think are very, very worthy. And we could obviously compare those to the NHL and make our decision. But former Baltimore Raven, Haloti Ngata,
Okay.
Big defensive tackle, was number 92. And then longtime Pittsburgh Steeler James Harrison, also 92. Two-time champ, All-Pro. I mean, those are really, really good players there. The NHL, like, just looking at guys who are not just good but have worn 92 for a long time. Evgeny Kuznetsov, the longtime Washington Capital. Gabriel Landeskog, really good player, longtime captain of the Avs, still in Colorado. Those are probably, if I had to say, the two best. I would say those are the two best. Michael Nylander, who played in the 90s, Calgary Blackhawks for a little bit. He was number 92 for his career as well. Rick Tocchet, but I don't know if I'm putting Gabriel Landeskog or Kuznetsov ahead of Haloti Ngata or James Harrison.
No. I think this is the clean sweep of the National Football League, and you call it a night. You call it a night, and basically that's yours. I mean, some decent hockey names, but yeah, I think it's a full pack of NFL guys.
Yeah, yeah, and even just looking at some of the other NFL guys that we're leaving off this list. Do you remember Albert Hainsworth?
Yes.
Yeah, Albert Hainsworth wore 92 for a bit. Elvis Dumerville. Now I'm just like going through and just looking at some of the I mean, it obviously, it's going to be defensive linemen, some good players there, but yeah, Reggie White, Michael Strahan, Haloti Ngata, James Harrison. I'd like to see all four of those guys on one defense together.
Yeah, that would be impressive. That would be a tough defense to score on.
Yeah. But this is one of our easier Mount Rushmores that we've ever had to put together. It was like exactly 4 people that we were just like, obvious. Okay, good. Done. Easy.
Good work.
Perfect.
Good work. And I'll give you the credit. You did the grunt work on that. Good work.
Heavy lifting. Well, that's what I do. It's Tuesday. It's my show to lift. Friday, you'll come in. You'll have the game plan for what we're gonna do. But did I catch you off guard? I apologize.
I mean, it would be like 7:50, and I'll put it together. But yeah, I mean, we're good.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here. Reminder on a couple things. You can follow us at Stupid Sports Show on Twitter. We've had over 300 people check into the live stream. Appreciate all of you hanging out and listening to us overreact to NFL Week 1. If you want to hear any of our previous 92 episodes of the show, make sure to go to Spotify, Apple, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. And Rodney is continuing to put out win after win after win on the Substack. So make sure to sign up at Stupid Sports Show, where you will get his free daily picks every single day in your inbox. It's well worth it. And if you've been doing it since the beginning of the year, you are many units ahead. Many a unit. And that's what it's all about. It's not about having fun. It's about them units.
That's right. You just want to keep making, you just want to grow those units.
Big time. All right. Well, let's get out of here. So for Rodney Newpol, this is Tim Man of Steel Van Stratton. We'll be back on Friday morning, 8 a.m. Central to give you our rundown of NFL Week 2, of college football Week 3. Maybe some other things might pop into the sports sphere. We'll wait and see. But until then, we'll talk to you next time. This has been another fantastic episode of the stupidest sports show on earth. See you guys. Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Yeah.